A very warm welcome back to your latest industry recap. Boeing finally on the improve. SAS confirms the resumption of a route, and Southwest makes a big change, one-upping in there, as they're continuing to find ways to transform themselves and raise revenue as part of restructuring efforts to ensure that they can have a more stable future. Following several other landmark announcements regarding its daily flying, Southwest has confirmed it will begin charging some customers for checked baggage. The policy shift is not the first in a string that is seeing this airline move away from being really a bare-bones low-cost unit. Instead, Southwest is looking to focus on what customers want in today's industry, while also finding ways really to raise revenues, the latter certainly being, you'd argue, the more important of the two. Since really conception, Southwest has created a really iconic brand in the United States, but much of that has been achieved through the established way the company handles itself and its customers. Starting from a napkin, Southwest has had a no-thrills type of flying experience, but that's going to change. The changes are driven by the airline reporting some far from optimal financial performances of late. Southwest will implement the latest policy on May the 28th, ending a privilege the carrier was known for, and implementing the previously announced end to an open seat model, among other changes. While Southwest has sought to cater to its customers' desires and be considered a passenger-friendly airline, this approach has sometimes received some pushback, especially in an era of uncertainty surrounding financial performance. Those who have criticised the airline, including some investors, believe while Southwest has been known for its way of operating for 50 years, things evolve and passenger requirements are not going to be what they once were, say, 30 years ago. And as a result, the company must emphasize raising revenues internally, believing that this can be done with some beneficial long-term changes to the business, which, while may be frustrating from a customer point of view, are going to ensure that Southwest is here to stick around for the long term. Profits are expected to increase with the changes, such as what's occurring with baggage. This is precisely exactly what the company hopes will occur, to better align it with the billions of revenue being brought in by other US carriers also charging for baggage. While this change will see Southwest move away from a customer-first approach, the airline does firmly believe this is the right decision to take if it wants to remain competitive and be around for the decades to come. Baggage policy changes, like I touched on, are just one of the many that Southwest has already announced in a bid to restructure its approach and increase profits to make sure it is stable. The airline confirmed last year that it was truly entering a new era, saying that it would move towards assigned seating and offer premium seating options on every flight. After thorough research led by testing, the company remains confident that this enhancement will meet expectations, but more importantly, not compromise the airline's operational efficiency. As part of the research, 86% of the future and 80% of existing customers for the airline reported a preference for assigned seating over the open seat policy. Southwest will also offer premium seating with extended legroom in a portion of the cabin, where after their own review, they believe that these rollout changes will enhance the in-flight experience. And finally, let me not forget the 24-hour operation that the airline is moving towards, aimed at really enhancing overall asset utilization and maximizing the capabilities it has. Over to the next story, and in some positives. Boeing's quality has been one of the more talked about points in our industry over the last several years. However, things seem to be improving. Speaking with CNBC, the CEO of AerCap, one of the industry's leading aircraft lessors, discussed the visible improvement across the plane maker in recent times. AerCap is a massive buyer of Boeing and strongly believes in the plane maker's products, but it knows that significant quality slips need to be overcome. Since a door blowout incident occurred at the top of 2024 and further issues were identified, Boeing has spent hundreds of billions of dollars on substantial resources away to try and turn the fortunes around for the greater good. These investments have been spurred on by a lack of faith in the product driven by airline customers, onlookers, and even enhanced oversight from the FAA. The CEO of AerCap believes that despite all these issues, Boeing has always been a company that they've not hesitated to buy commercial aircraft from. With this unwavering commitment, he's also seen noticeable improvements in the processes with the plane maker's production floors. This area has come under a lot of spotlight in recent recent times where a lot of the issues were stemming from. AerCap says that they are able to see the visible improvements in production because they continue to purchase planes from Boeing on a consistent basis. What I mean by that is they're taking delivery of aircraft every couple of days. And as a result, this close relationship that AerCap has built with Boeing enables them to get insight into the plane makers' processes that maybe other airlines or leasing giants may not experience on such a frequent basis. And yes, a lot of that does have to do with them consistently making visits to the Boeing production floor and getting a true hands-on experience at just what's taking place. However, AerCap has not been the only one to voice its positive thoughts on Boeing's developments over recent years. Fitch also stated the substantial improvements were being made, saying that they're well on their way to making early progress in resuming production following a multi-month strike. This strike period affected the company's production, which was already under pressure, driven by the complicated supply chains. Furthermore, Fitch stated that the plane maker was also looking to reduce some of its legacy inventory while investing in supply chains, which have been challenging and put more significant pressure on the American plane maker. Unfortunately, while there is improvement, Fitch has been clear that the company's revenue and profitability remain a visible concern, as the production rates do remain capped. Therefore, while investments are being made for the future, and improvements again, I'll reiterate, are more than visible, Boeing still has a while to go before it can consider itself in an optimal manner to drive towards long-term sustainable profitability, with persistent quality aircraft being produced and nothing really slipping through. Again, it reiterates that there is still a time to go before all of that can be achieved. Over to the final story, SAS has announced plans to restart service to Beirut in time for the summer 2025 season, with the Scandinavian carrier confirming it'll offer up to 5 weekly departures from its hubs in Stockholm and Copenhagen, with flights commencing in June. SAS will utilise its state-of-the-art A320neo from Airbus, equipped with all the latest technologies on board and outside to improve not just efficiency but also passengers' comfort levels. The carrier says it's excited that it has the chance to return to Beirut with up to 5 flights per week to be offered during the midway point of the year. SAS is strongly targeting the leisure market with this service, expecting that the vast majority of travellers will be visiting friends and family in Lebanon's capital. The capital has not been served by the Scandinavian airline since 2023 and therefore represents a welcomed return for all those who will benefit from service resumption, even if it is only on a temporary basis. SAS confirmed that thrice weekly flights will be offered between Copenhagen and Beirut from June 6 through to October 25. Again, this is just on a seasonal basis, initially to meet peak demand. Your Copenhagen originating flight will depart late at night on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and the returning flight therefore Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Meanwhile, Stockholm to Beirut is expected to commence on June 17th. It will operate for a shorter period with 2 flights offered up until August 31. These flights departing on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Again, you do have one of those late night departures scheduled. Despite an announcement coming from the airline, you also need to remember too that flights remain subject to government regulatory approval, and as far as I'm concerned, and many would be, until they're actually up in the air, they are very much subject to change. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. If you have any thoughts, you're more than welcome to drop them down below in the comments. Please take care, do be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow for your latest industry recap.
And we'll fly.